It's been a while since we originally hit the road. In 2012, we decided we wanted to travel and discover the world. We thought that a van would be the perfect solution for us, and we found that it was. We didn't have the time to figure out things. We just started traveling in Europe, and we've been able to witness and enjoy a different sunset and sunrise nearly every day. We've adjusted, we've minimized, and we got rid of most of our useless things. This was how we grabbed that freedom that everybody talks about these days. Most of the time, it's not easy to achieve. We know that. We've been lucky in ways. Somehow, we've succeeded going on 6 years. Through our freelance jobs, we've paid our expenses as we go. It's how we started our perpetual journey, and we've continued. But this movie is not about us. It's about other travelers that we've met on the road. It's their stories. It's their experiences, it's their freelancing jobs, and most importantly, it is their lives.
I'm Tracy Gennard. This is our dog, Ray.
And I'm John Rafa.
I'm Ray from Germany. I'm a passionate landscape photographer.
Well, I'm from Canada. I'm Jordan. And this is Natty.
Hey, I'm Maddie. I'm born in Austria, but this is my home now.
I'm Olaf.
I'm Osa.
This one is Khaled. He's the youngest of the family. And then comes Stella, the dog. And in the back is Toya. And then it's Mika, the oldest one.
I'm Ceci. He's her, Herman. I'm from Bilbao, the Basque Country, and he's from Colombia.
I'm Ronja, I'm from Germany.
I am Martijn, I'm from Holland.
I'm Mike. What do? I guess I travel full time in a van.
I'm Paulina.
I am Chrome, and this behind us is Wax.
My name is Robin, to begin with me, and this is my wife called Minza. And this is our son, he's 4 years old, he's called Pio, and our 2 daughters.
I am Noemi.
I'm Albert, I'm 37 years old, 58. I'm from Barcelona.
I'm Daniel, I'm from Australia, and I'd been sort of following along with the van life movement.
I'm Kelly. I'm from New Zealand, but I lived with Daniel in Sydney for the last 4 years.
My name is Allegra. I'm Italian, even if I don't feel that I belong to a country.
So I'm Theo.
And I'm B. We've been travelling since June last year in our VW T4 van across Europe.
we live in Freiburg, which is in Germany. We're on the road for 1 year. We took paternity leave, and since it's the last chance for us to do such a big trip, because Mika will start school soon.
I'd been sort of following along with the van life movement in my own life in Sydney for probably a couple of years online, and realising that it was something that was really sort of hit me, something I wanted to do. We ended up buying a van in Holland, and here we are in Europe starting our journey. We're 4 months in.
So I've been traveling for like 3 years, maybe over 3 years now. Before this, I had like a job, probably like a normal careerish kind of job, mainly in an office. I was getting bored. And I decided to quit.
Cinematography is our project that we started almost over a year ago now.
And we decided to do this project where we want to promote mental wellness through outdoor and sports. So we feature stories of people that use outdoor adventure to bring happiness to their lives, and we're hoping to inspire people to get out and do what they love.
I'm an artist. I work with public art mainly. So I travel around for my work.
I live in Box since about a year, together with Chrome, and I really like traveling around.
The best way to define myself is I'm a Via Lactean who is now exploring Earth. For people who wonder where I was born or how did I come to the human shape into this planet, that was in Brazil. I have the privilege of being raised among savage people. Therefore, I carry much more savage values than I do carry civilized values. I have been around Earth from place to place for about 25 years now.
1.5 years ago I got this van and travel around in it a bit, in Spain, in Portugal, in Morocco. And
I met Ronja in June in Portugal, and I kind of squatted in her van, and I'm still there.
I started traveling in a van in July 2016, so it's around about 8 months.
Living in a van, or living the van life, is not just a great way to travel and be able to discover amazing places. It's also a way to dedicate more of your time to your own interests and artistry. Your life is the first priority, isn't it? Time is the most expensive, non-material thing we have on this planet. Why waste it? We needed to find some sort of balance, instead of not using it for developing our passions and loves for whatever we like. We're getting rich in experiences and in personal growth, living in our van and traveling.
It has always been a dream when I was younger to have a van, and my first van I bought with a friend of mine. And then when we met and we knew that Mika's gonna come, we knew that we had to somehow get a different van which basically meets our needs with kids. We've been away for 2 months in Morocco. We knew that sooner or later we need a bigger car, bigger kids, bigger car. Is basically what the outcome from that trip was.
I love to travel. In the past, I did it mostly as a backpacker. I traveled in many countries around the world, like Australia, New Zealand, USA. On my last trip, it was in Vietnam. I realized that it is for a landscape photographer a bit difficult to travel only backpacking. So this is one reason I choose to live in a van and travel in a van. I choose to do it as a full-time traveler because I don't want waste more time in the office, and I don't know what's in 20 years or what's in 5 years. So I want to do it now.
When I first met Bea, I'd always joked about and told her that we were going to live in a van one day, and I had to make that happen. She never believed me. She'd always say, "Oh no, I'm not sure," but yep, here we are living in a van, and yeah, it's amazing. I don't really know how kind of the idea came about, but I know I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore, and I wanted to get away from the corporate video world for a bit, and this was the best way to do it, I think.
It started with adventures in our little Citroen Berlingo that you converted about 2 years ago now.
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
And we'd go off around the UK and that. We even went to France, and we were like, we want something a bit more sustainable than this tiny little thing. You know, your feet were on the dashboard, it was that small. So we found this and it was perfect.
With the idea to go on a van trip, there was a friend of mine actually who said, like, because I wanted to go to Spain in the summer, and she said, yeah, we should get a van from your dad, because my dad has he has a Volkswagen vans like this since he's like 18. So he helped me out, and we found him, Spencer, and then he wanted to keep it, and now I want to keep it. So the situation is still a bit unclear about that, but yeah, it became my home, so it was really hard to give it away again. I came back to Portugal with the van and met Martijn, and yeah, ever since we are pretty much living most of the time in the van.
Johnny, he's my husband. I love him, and I'm traveling with him since more or less 5 years. We are in a very good balance, and we are traveling more and more. I was dreaming about it, and when I found Johnny, actually, I couldn't believe that I found it. I was like, there will be something wrong, there will be something broken, something. And there was, of course.
We never meant to live in a van, or like we didn't have the goal to be like Vanlifers. And me being a photographer, I wanted to do a personal photography project that would give awareness to mental health and just happiness. And so we came up with our project Searching for Saro. And when we started discussing of ways of promoting it and ways of meeting people, the van just became the way to do it. It seemed to make sense. It seemed to be practical,
convenient,
and maybe one of the best ways to get around North America and to meet people and to find people that are into outdoor adventure.
Yeah, and then, I mean, John's always been attracted to Westfalia, so was I, because it's just so iconic. So when we decided to do the project Living in a Van, then we started looking at Westphalias and decided it was the perfect mean for us.
Yeah.
I went to university, I got a degree in like electronic engineering, and this is like a subject that I love. So just by default I got a job, and then I guess I had everything that you meant to have: a good job and stuff, and my own place, a car and things like this. And I just got really tired and fed up and sick of it. I was always interested in sound system culture, pirate radio culture. I always wanted my first car to be a van. And then when I was 25, when I was bored, sat in the office, the thoughts of the van came again, but then I thought, actually I could use it as my full-time home. I bought this van as like a broken, empty van in all my spare time, in my lunch breaks, and in the evenings I was researching how to convert a van, how to, you know, make it into a space that is like fully livable.
I guess we're really lucky that we have joined the van life movement, I guess a bit later in the game, so sort of see, like that's a way of life. People are actually doing it and living it, you know, have been doing it for years successfully, so.
I don't know, I always just had, growing up in a small town in Belgium and seeing all these little vans and people living this different lifestyle, I always sort of saw it and it was an interest to me. I didn't know whether I would end up doing it, and then gradually sort of more and more.
We just wanted a way to really travel for longer and go to places that we never would have seen otherwise. So this has really become, you know, an opportunity for us.
I was already going down minimizing my belongings and sort of getting rid of a lot of stuff, and so for me, being able to, the freedom and the choice to be able to live in a small space and in a van, it just made sense.
We met about 3 years ago in Brazil. We found out that both of us always had a dream of living in a van. I was traveling by myself with my backpack for 2 years already. Before that I was actually working in a normal job. I was living in Berlin, you know, going to the office every day. So I was always looking for things to break out into something else. A year and a half ago, more or less, Chrome came to visit me in Berlin. I was already thinking again about this dream of living in a van. Maybe, you know, this is the moment to do it. If I'm not gonna do it now, I'm probably never gonna do it. 2 weeks later we bought box, and another week later we moved in.
It's tough to start something daunting. It's difficult to change your life, even if it is for the better. You might be in a small apartment living together, and when you need real space, you go outside. Now imagine if the space was a seaside, a mountain, a gorgeous country you've never met. Imagine that you have a once-in-your-lifetime experience with your better half, by yourself, or with your family.
When living in a van, well, you normally think that because of
being in a confined space, life may become more difficult, but I don't think it's so different as in regular life. Actually, it's not confined space is where you sleep, but actually you're like in the whole world. You know, the site is enormous. It's like the biggest 5-star natural hotel.
Me and Theo have always been really close. We're the kind of couple that literally from day one we were together pretty much 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, we've been together 10 years now, and it's not like we just jumped into a van straight away and tried to make it work. We knew each other very well already.
We lived in a really small flat.
We lived in a small flat already.
Probably not much bigger than the van.
So that was good training, really. And yeah, we find it all right. I go off and do my photography and filmmaking. B likes to read, and yeah, we have our own space, but we enjoy spending time together as well.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it because we like it, and we said we try it, and if the kids don't rebel and if they don't, you know, regret it, or if they don't cause problems, you know, one way of knowing that's good for them is that they like it, and you just find out as soon as you do it. And if you don't do it, you don't know whether it'll do them any good or not.
We like our life at home too, and now this is our home. And sometimes if you change your life, it's exhausting and it's uncomfortable. And I think this is good. It's good that the life sometimes is uncomfortable, because then you watch on your life before, and you can see things you like and or not.
It's hard sometimes because maybe you are just in search of some loneliness and some peace, some place where to stop and contemplate, and you always have someone that wants to know why are you alone? Would you want to sleep alone in the van tonight? Yes, of course, I'm used to. It's my home. It's not that I don't think that something can happen, but I used not to have fear. Fear is my enemy.
It's not easy. I'm not going to lie you. It's not easy, but I think it's an exercise, a huge exercise of tolerance and dialogue too. Anyway, you have a huge terrace again, and you can go out and have a walk, like calm yourself and whatever.
For sure, it's a challenge, but more for her than for me. We plan to be around 6 or 7 or maybe more months together in the van. And if we survive, and if she don't kill me, I will marry her for sure.
Well, yes.
If you want.
traveling alone have pro and contras, so you can do what you want, come more in contact with other people because you're alone and you want to talk. From time to time you feel lonely, but I have my mobile phone, so I can phone at home with friends and family. So for me it's not a problem. Don't be afraid to travel alone.
Well, you lived in the van just alone
Yeah.
for a little bit, and then I came and met up with her.
It's way nicer when it's two of you, so you can keep each other warm.
Yeah, I don't mind the two of us really. It's just we're both really easy to, like we said, we met traveling, so we can have really little and be happy. So I think we're
Yeah.
the right kind of personalities for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point we came through was that with our children, especially our children, they take a lot of time. We want to have a lot of time, and if we travel together we can have this time all together, because if we stay at home it's always that one goes out to work something and we, like this in one bus we are all together. The two little ones, they are really active. It's really important for us that we have a lot of space where they can have their fun and come around.
Yeah, the space that we live in is small. I mean, this is our bedroom, our kitchen, our lounge room. It turns into whatever we want it to be at the time, and sometimes it feels like we've got so much space and we were like, wow, Kelly can be in the front, I can be in the back, we can be doing different things and feel like we're not even in the same place. And I mean, it takes some getting used to, and then it certainly challenges the relationship.
I guess the main thing is, yes, we always live together, but we also, we both have full-time jobs. We have like quite a large group of friends, so we weren't always together like this.
We just have to make it work. We realise that we can get frustrated with each other, and at those times you just have to take the space by literally going outside of it, or we're just saying I need some space and giving each other room to breathe. It can be hard.
But there's highs and lows. Like, if we get through, we still love each other at the end of the day, and if anything, it's probably made our relationship stronger, because we know that we can do this, so we can probably do anything.
So yeah, by default I'm on my own, but I've also experienced, like, friends have come out to the van, travelled with me for a few weeks or a month, and then I've met people as well. So I like both worlds, but they're both very different. Travelling alone, I mean, there are loads of challenges. Everything's harder on your own, just from the practical things, like driving is a bit harder, but I guess you get used to it. I like being alone. Like, not all the time, but like I get a lot from being, like, exploring things just alone, being totally free, going where I want, not having to think about, like, it sounds quite selfish. Never felt like lonely, I think there's too much to do. Probably like more lonely in my other life, and I was around a lot of people.
It was very important to us that the van became home, and we did have some compromises. We did have to give things up, but like, I wanted to ensure I had my bike and I had my surfboard, and if there is a time where it's like we are just frustrated with each other, I'll just grab my surfboard and go out surfing, and I'll go through big waves where I know Tracy's not going to follow me, and I get my alone time there. Or, I don't know, I go for a walk, or I go throw the ball for rain. I don't know.
I think it's just a matter of respecting each other's space, because there's not a lot of space. Like, you feel it right away if the vibe is not good and the other person just needs space and time, and you just go and you go for a walk, and you go, don't talk to them for a couple minutes, and it's usually enough for just enough pressure that release and us to look at each other and be like, oh, I'm not really mad at you, I'm just feeling like pressured or crammed, and it's fine.
I got the van out of the shop and we packed up and we left, and we didn't have a time to actually like go on this weekend camping trip or like, get to know the van. It was just like on the road full time, here we go. But yeah, the first few weeks we were doing what we called the Westfalia dance, because we just couldn't like I wanted to make coffee and Tracy wanted to get dressed, and it was like we were just like dancing around each other trying to do this. And so there's like a bit of frustration there, but once we realized like, hey, there's like, this is like really annoying, I brought up, I was like, hey, it's the Westfalia dance that we're doing. And I just tried to make like, you get things that you're maybe not used to, and you just got to point them out and try to make the best of them. So
Ours is the age of technology. It's helped us to find new solutions, and it's created more freedom. With the asphalt under our wheels and with our spirits soaring, it brings us to astonishing landscapes. It gives us the possibility of being connected to the entire world in just a click. The time has come again for a new wave of nomads, both online and offline. Each one has their unique way of being sustainable while traveling.
A house has like a lot of what I call compulsory bills, which is you have to pay those no matter what. There's a minimum fee, and in a house you're not allowed to be independent. Whereas when you live in a car, you can go self-sufficient.
We didn't have any savings, or our parents are not paying for us. We also don't get any unemployment money from our countries, no. I started as a freelancer online, doing translations, writing content for different websites, doing social media for different companies, and I get paid for that. Right now I work about 20 hours a week. That's how we pay the food and the diesel and the car. I'm still paying for the car.
It's a mixture of savings a bit, little income, and hope that the spendings are not too great, that the van will last until the end, and we know that we continue our jobs, so if the gap is too big, we know that the income will come and will take a while to fit the gap.
Well, I'm not doing anything right now. I sold all my stuff in Holland that I have, and that brought me some money, but that got stolen from the van. So then we came to the next problem, that making money was actually something that had to be done, in a short amount of time. But we're starting a little company right now in Carapetera in Portugal, and that's going to be our way to make money.
Yeah, first of all, you don't need a lot, because you don't have to pay rent or a fancy TV or an extra car, or you don't have a lot of costs that people normally have.
It's kind of been an evolution. So the first thing was to spend as little as possible. So spending 10 or 11 euros a day on average, this is what I was doing, and then I had to find a way to make 11 euros a day. Actually, before the blog, I was busking on the streets. You make money for food. I was juggling fire and with some other people playing music. And then the blog started getting popular. I started to see opportunities. So then I put advertisements on the blog at first. That got me my 10 euros a day, and then it went up. And then I found out there was a point where I made quite a bit with advertising on the blog. And then I took that all off because I didn't like adverts. And then I made money with Amazon affiliates, and a few other affiliate programs. I don't do that anymore. So now my main income is through my ebook. This is my favourite way of making money because it's a better deal for both sides, you know, my audience and me. So now I can take all the adverts off my blog. I don't have to show people crappy adverts. I can give them an ebook that has a lot of value, and in return I get money.
I start in the past to save money as much as I can. I stop to consume stuff I don't need. Yeah, I think the most people consume so much stuff because they think it makes them happy. To do what you want, to live your passion, this is what you makes happy. To enjoy the life and not to consume stuff. Traveling in a van, it's don't really expensive. It's totally different from living at one place in a flat. So you have to buy food and you have to buy petrol.
A couple months before leaving, we put together a crowdfunding campaign through Indiegogo, and that worked out really well for us. We had a $10,000 goal and reached 13,000, so it was a great
huge.
success.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
We also funded the project a lot with our savings and our own money. It was very important to me during the crowdfunding campaign that the money from crowdfunding go towards the project, goes towards making the project happen, and not towards building the van. I didn't want. I felt like that, like the van was not something I could ask other people for money for. I wanted to make that myself.
We have been working as freelancers in the media production for over 9 years. In between, well, I've become a kite instructor. Right now I'm working to become as well a scuba diving instructor. And we also have several blogs. Adding all of these different resources, we managed to get enough earnings to be able to travel. Maybe a plan for the future is the ability to combine media production, blogging, as well as kite surf instruction and scuba diving instruction, and like pivot around different places as a seasonal way to live in different areas around the world.
Basically, our trip started with just working as much as we could in Sydney and saving up. So we accumulated a fair bit of savings. We sort of calculated how much we would need for at least 6 months of this trip, which is what our plan was. But ultimately we would like to continue this lifestyle, so it was always going to be a learning process, and we knew that when we started this, we have the savings there, but we were obviously thinking of ways that we could make money on the side as we go. You don't need to make much money because your living costs are much lower. It's just about having enough to sort of to get by and to continue what you want to do.
Obviously, it's all a learning curve for us, so we know it's not going to happen overnight. We do have goals to try and help sustain ourselves. I guess with the whole network of online jobs and all these sorts of websites where you can go and apply for work, it is a lot easier than it might have been before.
basically we just worked very hard. From 16, I've been working in the film industry and doing corporate video. So I'd saved enough money from that to support us for a year on the road. And yeah, that's basically it.
And selling a lot of things.
Yeah, we sold
our cars.
Yeah, we sold our cars, and that paid for the van.
Yeah.
And then our savings paid for the year on the road.
By selling my art, I have an apartment, so I used to rent it, not all the time, but just partially. And by spending less money that I can, that doesn't mean that I'm frustrating myself. If I need something, I just buy it. I don't think about that. I'm not in a budget. But I used to live a life with many exchanges. So I give so much to the people and people are giving me so much.
Our life, our real life, is one without picturesque filters. The reality is a lot bigger than a tiny square photo. The untold moments are ones that bring us down sometimes. They can be frustrating and make us upset. But these are just teensy little moments compared to what we get to see with our own eyes. Not to mention the enrichment we get as human beings. Problems always have a solution.
The biggest realization when you start van life is obviously you see all these pretty pictures and you just think, wow, such a glamorous, easy lifestyle. You're just always at the beach or something.
Yeah, it's not all glamorous.
Mechanical issues with the van. I mean, I guess that's when it breaks down to it's mechanical problems that you never have control of, that you just got to accept it can happen any time and deal with.
That sort of completely opened up our eyes. We had this sort of idea that we could just pull up to the beach, you know, pop our boot and we'd be there for the night. So a lot of the time, you know, you see something on a map and you think, oh, that's gonna be perfect, like let's go there. And then you get there and it's horrible and there's like a midnight rave party in the car park and you think, oh my god, get me out of here. So there's been a lot of those moments, but I guess it really helps to put into perspective.
There are so many things to go wrong. I mean, compared to living in a house, everything feels pretty delicate. Like, yeah, it's easy to break into a van, I guess. That's scary. The thought of that is really scary. The thought of someone driving away your van and your home is scary. You're living in a van with an engine and engines break all the time, and this is always a possibility.
3 days ago, Kalle, how do you say it? Puked. Yeah.
You know, back home you have your washing machine and then it's done after a couple of hours. It's dry and it's back in the closet. And this is probably one of the challenging things. But as you asking for fear, I think if you're really afraid of things, you probably wouldn't leave with a family. I mean, obviously it makes, you know, if somebody is sick or if you can't find a proper place for the night where you feel comfortable to stay in the van, or if, you know, it makes things much more comfortable every day. To find a really nice spot where you can stay for, you know, where all the needs of all the members of the family are basically fulfilled is really hard.
Toya and Mika, they really like to play with each other, but if they just have each other, of course they argue and it's not working sometimes. And when we come home, we always realize that this time has fit us together. We can as family really be together for a long time. We can manage that, and we can really enjoy each other, even if it's sometimes too much of all of us.
Well, we got robbed. That was not that nice. You come back from a great day of surfing and the van is open and pretty much everything from valuable was taken. Laptops, phones, money, passports. That's pretty much a nightmare which happened to us. And yeah, like she said before already, the not having a bedroom. It's living together in a very small space. If you don't count the world outside, of course. Yeah, when you get rain, then you don't really have a lot of places to go. Sometimes Spencer is leaking a little bit from the inside, so yeah, that makes it also a little bit tough, of course. Everything gets a bit moisty inside when it's raining outside for a few days. Yeah, that's the downside.
Yeah, and yeah, here in Morocco, like normally that was never an issue before. But yeah, finding a place to stay is a bit of an issue here because you get sent away from the nice places, and you need a bit of luck to find a good spot like we have right now. But yeah, in Europe there was never ever an issue. So sometimes I thought, okay, wow, I'm having this view here. Normally you would pay hundreds of euros in a 5-star hotel to get to sleep in this amazing place with that amazing view.
It looks like this really romantic thing. Usually on social media you always show the most beautiful things about it. In the end it's a normal life too, with upsides and downsides. Negative thing about it is like the lack of routine sometimes. Like, because we are always moving, which is cool because you can go anywhere, which is really great.
The only difficulty we have in life is like the courage of living their dreams, you know. People tend to find it difficult to let go this false illusion of security. Once you let go there, there's no more difficulties in life.
I think it's also important to show about van life that, like any life, it has positive things and negative things, or things people should think about. It's not paradise. Yeah, okay, it is.
I mean, what is not paradise about this?
Yeah. Okay.
We're in a beachfront house today. We want to be in a mountain view tomorrow. We want to be by a lake next week. I mean,
rain.
Wow. Yeah, rain. I think we both agree. Rain is really. It seems to have followed us everywhere our whole entire trip, but. You know, if you choose to stay in Norway for 2 months, that's probably going to happen. We haven't got a lot of room. There's 2 of us. We've got all of our stuff with us, and being locked in the van for 3-4 days at a time if it's raining is, yeah, it's pretty dire.
Maybe missing friends, because sometimes you meet a lot of people, but sometimes you need to speak, like to have a real talk with your real friend, you know. And maybe it can be like kind of sad because you only have Albert and Albert only have me.
Not always enough.
It's not always enough. And maybe when you are not balanced with yourself, your happiness depends on you most of the times. But if you are in peace with yourself, I think you can live the dream, and assuming it's not everything perfect in this life. This is life. Life is like up and down.
Is there a worse part? No, I don't think so. When you have to repair the van, maybe. A lot of tears.
I guess sometimes finding a place to camp, finding a place just to call home for the night in some areas can be frustrating. It's very important to me to sleep in a spot where I'm comfortable and it's beautiful and we can feel like we're at home. And some places it's really easy. Like right now we're in Thunder Bay, we're in Northern Ontario, and there's like a ton of crown land, there's a ton of lakes, there's a ton of beautiful spots up here. But we have had some areas where you feel like, you're driving for miles and miles and miles, and you're like, where are we gonna sleep tonight? Like, I don't want to sleep at Walmart. But you know what? Even worst case scenario, you end up sleeping in a parking lot in the middle of a city, and it's fine. It's like, it's not.
Today is not perfect. Tomorrow will be better.
Yeah, if you see Vanlifers and see the photos and the stories, for example on social media, it looks always great and it looks like a dream. But be prepared, it's not always fun. Some days you don't find a great spot for sleeping. You're standing at the highway between trucks. It's noisy and it smells bad from the road. On other days it's raining. It's a whole day, 2 days you're driving and it's raining. You're sitting in the van. All becomes wet.
We know that this lifestyle isn't for everybody. It's not easy to cut off your roots, your home, and simply go. But for us, this alternative lifestyle makes us happy. It's what makes us free. It's what inspires us daily. Travel isn't just moving from one point to another, it's between 2 points. We've become so much happier in our personal experiences. We've been able to get to understand more about ourselves through the places we've visited. And more importantly, through the people we've met.
I learn about the things around me, other countries, other cultures and stuff, and I've learned a lot about myself. You get a unique perspective that's difficult to get in normal life. You can step back and look at from a distance and see in a different way, and I think that's valuable.
And that gives you just way more freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want.
And living close to nature is also an awesome thing, of course. Living in a van like this, always close to the beach, that's what I do, what makes me happy.
Instead of staying in a hotel or something like that where you have to get up 2 hours before sunrise, I can park on the doorstep of a beautiful landscape and get out of my van in the morning and just go and shoot and have a great time.
And you're very free as well. You're not tied down to anywhere, well, other than the bikes when we locked into the van, but we can leave whenever we want and just go wherever we want. And I think that's probably my favourite thing, just being anywhere.
You start traveling, you cannot stop. The van gives you the opportunity to do it. It gives you the freedom, and you just need to take the decision and live the adventure.
I guess it doesn't even affect my life. Traveling is my life. We meet people from all over the world, and people are so friendly and helpful and generous, and everyone's curious and wants to get to know each other.
To be outside the whole time. to be in the nature. Now we are at the ocean, and a few weeks ago we were in the desert, and we can just go there with a van.
Just be brave enough to start it and to do it bit by bit. As long as you're happy, the kids will be happy as well. Unless you don't try, you never know until you go, a friend of mine said.
You know, when you find yourself parked at the beach for free and can wake up there and see the most beautiful sunset and sunrise, like, it's amazing.
If you think about, I say, dude, start doing steps, start saving money, buying a van. It's a point in the future where you want to start. It's so you realize it's not so difficult. You don't have to be afraid to quit your job. It's easier than you're thinking. Yeah.
Another way to define us, it's there are mad people and there are nomad people. So we are the group of nomads.
Yeah, we're not crazy at all.
In life, you don't grow unless you're outside of your comfort zone. Life has a good way to throw sticks at you and make you trip and fall sometimes. Going with the van life and doing this project for us was definitely putting me outside of my comfort zone. So I think it's an amazing opportunity, and I think it provides the best value in the long term for me, because I feel like I grow so much by being, not secured and not safe and not doing the same thing every day.
What it taught me was to slow down. It was very clear when we first started driving this van that things would not happen fast. Life isn't about rushing, and if there's moments where we're doing something and there's a beautiful sunset or there's stars or there's something you want to stop at, just stop, just enjoy the moment, just be in it and be connected and be mindful and be yourself.
Be yourself by finding your own way that can give you freedom. Find your path. Turn on the engine and go. You can start to explore the alternative possibilities and all of the happiness life has to offer.
Or should I be looking into the camera? You can have this idea for months and months, and it can always be there, and you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do it, but until you just go like, okay, I'm going to do it, it doesn't really, until you actually like quit your job and things like this.
I'm happy for that, because I always have time for me. I mean, even just the time that I'm driving Johnny, it's the time for me. I'm enjoying driving. Of course, if you make a choice like this, you have to like it. You have to like to drive and to get tired also of it sometimes.
Should I say it again?
Yeah.
Three days ago.
It's the challenging part, but the nice luxury part as well. Depending on how it works. If it works, it's luxury. If it doesn't work, it's hard work.
Oh, I miss having an oven. Yeah, we're pizza addicts. Can't have pizza.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, you can't have oven food, but you eat healthier and you eat fresh all the time, which is good. Yeah, so maybe a few updates to the van. We're only back in Birmingham for a couple of weeks, and then we're heading to Scotland and hopefully never coming back.
I mean, okay, take advice, but take it with a pinch of salt, I guess is what I'm saying. So when I was doing this, when I told everyone I was going to do this, you get a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's excellent," and stuff like this, and then you get some people saying like, "But how are you gonna do this? But how are you, like, you can't do this. You can't just because they believe that's their belief, you know." So be careful of taking advice from these people.
Okay, let's start. You can start that with your phone.
Yeah. These GoPros have a function that you can link them directly.
It's Wi-Fi.
3.
Crappers. And do it now. Van Life the movie, take 1.
Okay, let's talk about the future. I think the lifestyle of living in a van become in the next years more and more popular. So many people see it on social media and are inspired from van lifers and see all the great pictures, and they think about, oh, I want to do it.
Luckily there's a bed over our bed and there are the kids, and then it's like they are not in our mind anymore if they are above us, and then it's okay. But there were times the children were awake every 2 hours or more, and then it was really hard for us.
Who are we? That's the question.
Okay, who are we? I'll start by explaining how we started living in box, just how this whole adventure started.
Well, we usually get really good sleeps in our van. We were really surprised when we spent the first night here how comfortable it is and how spacious it is, because how much do you really need? So we wake up either by the sun or by the birds or sometimes by the traffic and cook up some breakfast. We got a little cooker, we have a little sink, we have everything we need. Simple, very simple.
Many people, some people told us that, and we didn't realize until it happened to us, is that you're in your comfort zone and you're thinking, how am I going to earn money? How am I going to do this and do that? You have a lot of doubts, but what happens is when you go to a different place, new possibilities of new doors open up that you haven't even thought about, like scuba diving. How we didn't think about that, but suddenly it was there. What if you do this?
It's not working.
Yeah, it's like I saw this like diagram one day, and it was like point A, point B, plan, and it was a straight line. And then there's like actual route, and you're like, woo! And that's what van life is. But if you don't have that plan,
you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, that route's not gonna happen. So I don't know, just live in a van, but do it with a purpose and have goals and like make it happen.
And I don't know why we're talking about that. Maybe
well, if we are looking for happiness, that's it's not like looking for something. I think we have like the skills to be like.
Yeah. I don't know if we will be more happy, but what I know is we will not if we stay at home and we don't do this project. So that's it. We'll see what happens.